हेलो गाइस, वेलकम टू द लिमिटलेस एक्सपीरियंस। माय नेम इज़ आकाश एंड थैंक यू फॉर ट्यूनिंग इन। आज के हमारे जो गेस्ट है, ही इज़ अ ट्रेडर, अ टीचर, अ मीमर, अ ट्विटरटियर एंड इंस्टाग्राम इन्फ्लुएंसर, and he is basically a very humble person because he agreed to do this podcast. Please welcome Abhishek Kar.
Thank you so much, Akash. It's a lovely morning as well as a lovely meeting with you, Akash. I'm honored.
सर एक्चुअली दी ऑनर इज ऑल माइन बिकॉज आप जितने बड़े यूट्यूबर हो, आप जितनी बड़ी पर्सनालिटी हो ऑनलाइन, एंड आप जितने बड़े ट्रेडर हो, द प्लेजर इज ऑल माइन हैविंग यू ऑन दिस पॉडकास्ट.
Thank you so much for all those kind words. Thank you so much.
विल गेट स्टार्टेड. एक्चुअली मैंने जब आपको सोशल मीडिया हैंडल्स पे फॉलो करना स्टार्ट किया, बोथ ऑन ट्विटर एंड इंस्टाग्राम, मैंने एक्चुअली एक बहुत पेक्यूलियर चीज़ नोटिस की कि आप एक बहुत ही लिमिटेड नंबर ऑफ अकाउंट्स को फॉलो करते हो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल. एंड उनको फॉलो करने के साथ साथ वो ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई किसी इंसान को फॉलो करते हो या फिर आप किसी दोस्त को फॉलो करते हो. यू फॉलो पेजेस विच आर अबाउट एलियंस एंड कॉन्स्पिरेसी थियरीज. सो व्हाई इज दैट, सर?
Okay, so Akash, see, basically there are two or three reasons. Okay, I'll be very candid over here on this podcast because I think that's the purpose, right? Yeah. So the first and primemost reason why I follow very few handles across the platform is to cut the noise. So what happens is, in this age of technology and social media, we are bombarded with so much of information from left, right, everywhere. The moment you open Instagram, there will be hundreds of posts. The moment you open Twitter, there will be hundreds of handles talking about one particular subject with their own opinions. What happens is, I realized that all these opinions actually shadowed my own individualistic thinking. So that was one reason. And being a trader, it's very important that you should be in a position to cut the noise. And in the times we are living in, it's not practically possible to completely let go of everything, but there are ways through which you can identify. So, for example, on Twitter, there is a wonderful option called list, Lists, list. So, I do have lists where I have my friends and colleagues who are good traders as well as investors or thought leaders whom I have added over there. And whenever after post market hours or before the market hours, I want to just see what's exactly happening around in the community, I can just go and check out based on. So, there is a trader list, there is an investor list, there is a thought leader list. I can just go around. So I am in touch with what exactly is happening. So this is precisely what I do on Twitter. Why I follow aliens and all these Illuminati and all this, because see, after all, you follow like-minded people. Doesn't mean I'm an alien. Just kidding. It's just like I have almost sort of fascination for all these subjects also, which is altogether a different thing. Not a hobby or something, but yes, I am fascinated about exploring more about what is behind this world, what is behind this universe. So that's one of the reasons. Talking about Instagram, so yes, even on Instagram, at least 4 days back I was following just 3 handles. Now I'm following, I think so, 8 or 9 handles. The reason is because lately I realized, this is a secret, that on Instagram some algos do some work. So you need to follow some people from your community in order to, get your profile viewed by other people in the same community. So I just randomly thought that could be one of the reasons. So I'm giving a hack for all those people who want to grow on Instagram also, that try to also follow like-minded people who are from your own fraternity. So I've started following 1 or 2 finance handles, 1 or 2 international handles. And on Instagram, at least I'll start following, because Instagram is more on a fun mode, which I'm actually doing to connect more with the youth, just like wonderful people like you. On Twitter, I probably am not going to follow. There was another reason, I'll just tell you. Earlier, I think so, 1.5 years back or 2 years back, I used to follow a few traders. They used to follow me also. But then what we realized is that anytime any sort of controversy happens or anything happens, people try to start digging in. Okay, what was the relation, what was the connection, and all those things. Okay, this person follows this person, okay, they are friends and all those things. So I feel that in today's time, a lot of people think that until unless you're not friends on Twitter, you actually don't like each other, which is completely wrong. We don't need a validation. So I'm in touch with great traders, big traders. They don't follow me, I don't follow them, but it's almost like every week, once or twice, we do have a call, we have a chit chat, and whomsoever they're following on Twitter, they might not be having that sort of relation with those people. They're not that close, but they are closer to me. So we don't want to show the world that yes, we are good friends and that's why we're following each other. So we have just gone beyond that level, that those two like nahi karega to mera dost nahi, have gone against those levels. And that is exactly how you mature in life. So that's the reason why I just follow only a couple of handles.
Okay, that's very true, sir, and that was a very useful insight that you have given us for on Instagram as the algorithm works. And sir, do you really think Elon Musk is an alien?
Sometimes I do feel, but see, I think there's just one thing which is making. So, as you talked about this thing, this is a mere coincidence. I'm reading this book. I hope you can see on the
Yeah,
screen.
yeah.
So, that's a mere coincidence. We never talked about this subject, but I'm reading Ashley's version on what exactly he has to talk about in the entire biography. And whatever pages I'm through, I just realized one thing: this guy is hungry. He is completely insanely hungry, and I wouldn't say not just crazy. He's passionate about whatever he's trying to do. And what I've realized is, I'll give you a very simple example. So tell me one thing: there could be some incidents where you start working on certain project and you got so engrossed in that project that 3-4 hours have passed by and you don't even realize. You're not even hungry. You're not even feeling lazy. You just go. And suddenly when you look into the watch, oh my God, I've been sitting here for 4 hours.
Yeah,
Now you
yeah.
suddenly start feeling hungry and all those things. You want to have a bowl of Maggie. And this is precisely what happens with this guy. He goes into that transit mode where he doesn't realize what exactly is happening all across. So first, whether he is an alien or not, it's still debatable, because right from his childhood, I was reading from 12 years age, he wanted to go on Mars and get the settlement over there. It could be an influence of all the non-fiction books he had read in the childhood days. He reads a lot. He read a lot of books. He, in fact, formulated a rocket device by reading a lot of books. So that's there. I just think that he's an extraordinary being who works really hard. All we see today is just he is trying to become a memer on Twitter and all. That's just one aspect. He has achieved that level where he can actually do all those things. But in reality, he's a very hardworking person managing 5 companies. And he's a phenomenal time manager. Today, when I see people saying that, how come Abhishek gets so time? He's there on Twitter, he's trading, he's investing, he's consulting clients, he's doing webinar, he's there on Instagram putting up 2 reels and all those things. How is he doing? I just wonder, when Elon Musk can manage $5 billion companies and he can manage so much, he's there on Twitter, he's doing so many things, why can't we? So we should seek inspiration rather than, always thinking whether he's an alien or not. So there's a possibility he might be one, but I have due respect for him, no doubt.
There's always respect for the people who want to change the world all by themselves.
And he literally wants to change the world in a better fashion.
Yeah, so actually Elon Musk, what I feel is he is one of the most influential personality on planet Earth, because as soon as he tweets about something, be it anything on the face of the earth, it will grow, and it will grow exponentially, just like Dogecoin, whatever it may call, or Bitcoin, or whatever it may be. It grows, and he has that hunger, he has that power to change the world, and I'm pretty much sure he'll do that as soon as possible, as soon as the technology reaches at that level. Yeah, I am very hopeful, but seriously, I think that Elon Musk is doing a phenomenal job.
Exactly. And I think that has more to do with the power of intention. A lot of books talk about it, a lot of authors, a lot of speakers talk about it, but we really think about those things.
So, sir, a couple of days back, I noticed a certain thing, that you have retweeted a photo, and it was a photo of you working in a Marathi movie. I guess you have written the caption that you were working in the movie. So, how was the experience like?
So I have a brief stint not into hardcore movies. So there are 2 Marathi movies. One I wouldn't like to name because it was super duper flop and a different context. One I'll say, that is Shortcut, Distoy Par Nastoy. So in that I play a small role wherein I'm actually ragging the students, the new college students. I'm a part of that, and also I get failed into one exam. So that's a small role which I'm playing. In another one, I'm actually someone who is conspiring against a lover boy. So that's a different story. I wouldn't like to talk about. So basically, what happens is, Akash, when it's all so I do love exploring a lot of different things. I just want to experience once how these things happen. This is probably the first time I'm talking about this on social media or any platform. So we used to do a lot of dramatics and Nukkad Natak during our college days, specifically graduation. Okay, so for those people who don't know, Nukkad Natak, basically you go on the streets with a team wearing the same color, and you try to bring social awareness about a certain topic with the help of dramatics. And you don't have fancy costumes, you just wear one single like plain costumes. You use your hands, clap,
A kurta and a jeans, maybe.
yeah, you use your body movements and all. I still remember the first dialogue with which it used to start. It is like more than a decade now. So it was like, Dal pe baitha to hota, control nahi hota. I used to say control nahi hota. Everyone used to say, because This was about AIDS, and I was someone who was like a sort of desperate guy into that structure. And my girlfriend in that particular act gets AIDS, and then that's a whole psychology about I start ignoring her, but then someone makes me realize that AIDS doesn't spread like this. These are the rules and all those things. And we used to win a lot of competitions and awareness while this thing. So that acting element was there, although I'm not a very good actor, but yes, that was there.
Okay, so you got into movies just to get a taste of it, just to get an experience how it works.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
how was your experience like?
Experience was great. So I got to work with a person, very talented actor, who was the side lead in Bajirao Mastani and also in the movie Hunter. So he was the lead role. Okay, he's the lead person. So we worked with this thing. I realized how many tantrums all these celebrities actually put on the sets, not over us, but to their crew members and everything. I did realize. So मेरे को 6 अंडे चाहिए and all those things and all those for bodybuilding and all those things. So I do realize, but experience was good. So that was the first time I realized there's something called green screen. I was quite shocked. Like there was a scene where we had to be in a mob. There was a rock concert going on. We had to be in a mob. We were just 11 of us standing over there using green screen. They made it like 250 people standing over there. While the final output came, I'm like, wow, ऐसे मतलब 11 से 250 लोग दिखने लग गए अब. And so I did realize it was a fantastic journey. Like they do a lot, and see, it's very easy to say that this film stars, the life is lavish and all those things. You need to understand that is also an extremely competitive field. They do work hard, and there is a lot of uncertainty. Every day before COVID, at least 10,000 people used to visit Mumbai to try their luck out in modeling as well as acting. So it's not like everyone becomes one. Okay, it's just that one person, and there are several elements. Some might say that they were Khans, they were Kapoors, they got reference. But there are people like Rajkumar, there are people like Nawazuddin. Of course, they got their share a little late in life. But it's not that life is unfair. If you are really willing to put in that hard work, it's just that some people would work for 5 years and they don't know that on the 6th year they're going to crack it. They're going to leave it at the 5th year itself. That's the only problem.
So speaking about movies, I just recently I saw your review of The Big Bull. How do you actually feel about the movie? Because I haven't watched the movie yet. I'm actually planning to do this weekend. So actually, when the movie was announced, I've already watched Scam 1992, and even I talked to my friends about it. that कि अभिषेक बच्चन का लक काफी खराब है. जैसे मतलब गुरु इतनी ज्यादा इम्पैक्टफुल, इतनी अच्छी मूवी थी, एंड ही गेट टू डू दिस अगेन, ही गेट टू इम्प्रेस द ऑडियंस अगेन. But this time, the Scam 1992 was released as a web series, and it is a wonderful thing. अब पता नहीं ये चलेगी कि नहीं.
So basically, as I mentioned in the review also, broader masses wouldn't like that movie, The Big Bull. Okay, the reason is plain and simple, because first they will find it a little repetitive. Now, of course, the producers can't do a thing about that because it's about Harshad Mehta story and they cannot twist it a lot. Second, it has been already been recorded, it has been already been shooted, so of course it's a very expensive deal to completely change the entire story. So suddenly they cannot make it on Ketan Parekh from Harshad Mehta. So that's out of context. And the third thing is, I see a lot of people don't know that The Big Bull was already shooted before Scam 92. Most of it, 99%. Okay. A lot of people don't know. And it's just that suddenly within 3 months, Mr. Hansal Mehta and his team shooted the entire Scam 1992. Okay. And then they got this thing released. Earlier, Big Bull was going to get released on 23rd October. Then they realized, okay, let's shift it a little. And after looking at the phenomenal success of Scam 1992, probably the producers got a hint that it would be too hard to beat these people out of it. My obvious question is, when Big Bull was shooted first, and Mr. Hansal Mehta and the entire Sony Live team, I should appreciate, they played smartly. They knew that if the audience is going to get a repeat story, in any case, our viewership is going to decline. So let's do the good job. Let's work out for longer period of time and let's release it. But from a perspective for anyone who's into stock markets, I think they should watch it once. After that, it's on OTT. It's not going to charge you extra. The reason is because there are certain angles which this story is going to speak about, like the conspiracy about Harshad Mehta's death. At the end, they are going to talk about that. Then they are also going to talk about a deep relation between Jethmalani ji, who is the lawyer of Harshad Mehta, and Harshad Mehta. What exactly went around between these two people? So that is going to have a decent amount of exposure over there. Harshad Mehta wasn't like कि मैं जेब में लाइटर लेके घूमता हूँ ताकि धमाका कर दूँ. He wasn't like this dialogue baji wala thing and lala and all those things. In reality, he used to be shrewd, he used to be cunning, and I know, see, a different picture has been portrayed on both the movies. In Scam 1992, by the time it ends, people have a sympathetic value attached to Harshad Mehta and they feel he's a hero. This movie, why people wouldn't like another thing is because this is portraying as a villain. In reality, Harshad Mehta wasn't a hero. Let's admit it. A lot of kids get dragged away with this thing. No doubt, we cannot deny this fact that the biggest change into the lawyer industry was beginning from Harshad Mehta, because he was the one who approached Jethmalani. And since then, lawyers started charging for single hearing 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 92. I'm talking about, okay, 91, 92.
Oh.
Jethmalani ji later on started charging 40 lakh rupees for pro bono, and if I'm not wrong, 60 lakh rupees for some big profile hearings, single hearings. Okay, that is so. Harshad Mehta gets the due credit. Harshad Mehta gets the due credit. Why so much of attention came onto stock markets? We cannot deny that thing. Harshad Mehta gets the credit for pulling off, not alone, but yes, pulling off a big scam out of the banking. So in short, should you see a movie, in case you are interested into stock markets, you should see it once. You will get some angles. And in case you are a normal person who just wants to look for entertainment purpose, don't look it. Otherwise, you will find it boring.
We'll move on to the next topic. Speaking about the scam series that you have done on your YouTube channel, I've watched all the episodes of it, and I find it very informative, because you address some of the issues, some of the things that were not in the series, and not in the history books as well. If you try to find the picture of Manu Manek, you won't get to find it online easily. You will have to dig deeper and deeper to you might be able to find it, but you will have to look for it hard. So the amount of research that you have done, it was very commendable, and I really started appreciating your work, that you are covering this scam series and you are actually trying to make people understand what was happening on the ground level, because the scam series actually tried to, in my opinion at least, whitewash Harshad Mehta's image, because many of my friends, after watching that series, they said that नहीं यार, Harshad Mehta को frame किया गया था, he was a good person. So ये सारी चीज़ें हैं, वो आपने, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि आपने अपने वीडियोस से वो जो रियलिटी है वो सामने लाई थी. सो हाउ डिड यू डू दिस लेवल ऑफ रिसर्च बाय योरसेल्फ?
So these kind of research can only happen with connects from those people who were there, who have been there. So luckily in my field, I have built up decent connects with my clients and other people who have been into the market. So I'm also in touch with someone who has been in start from 86, 85 into the markets. I've been in touch with someone who has seen the Ketan bubble happening in front of him. I've seen people who have met Ketan Parekh. I've the privilege of speaking to these people. Now, they're bound to not reveal all these things on the public platform, because some things are meant to be hidden from the public limelight because of multiple reasons. But then there are so many things which I feel that indirectly, even if I'm able to convey through my YouTube channel to the public, it makes sense. Some people feel offensive. For example, I had made video on RJ, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, even before the scam series, talking about how possibly this person made 5,000 crore. At that time, people used to feel very offended. How come you can tell the richest investor you are jealous? Why do I have to be jealous of such a rich person? I'm just pointing out the perspective which I heard from people. So, and then after the scam series released, they were like, हाँ यार, ये राकेश झुंझुनवाला जी ने भी कुछ तो ऐसा किया होगा. He was also a short seller. So, thing is, people love to hear what they want to hear. The scam book I had already read before the scam 1992 release. Okay, I think so 3 years back itself, before the release of this thing. And in fact, I was excited when that was announced. A lot of people don't know, initial plans were to release it in Netflix. Okay, I don't know what exactly happened later, and it materialized on Sony Live. Maybe something didn't pass out really well. So I was tracking it since it was announced 2-3 years back when the project was announced. I was excited that, okay, I've read this book. I would like to see how it has been portrayed.
So let's get into the our topic, which you are an expert of, and I want to learn of it. Stock markets. In your bio on Instagram, on Twitter, you have mentioned that you are a bullish investor and a bearish trader. And how does it work and why is that?
So basically, an investor by definition is someone who's going to hold on for a longer period of time, who's going to hold on to its equity. So there is no denial. A 110-year history across the globe simply says that big money can be made when you're investing for a longer term. So that inherently makes me a bullish investor. So if I am actually buying certain stock, understanding the business dynamics and the microeconomics and macroeconomics related to it, all the valuation ratios and everything, I'm not just thinking that, okay, tomorrow if it drops down by 20-30%, I'll be into a panic mode. I know some people talk about keeping a stop even in their investments, but my investment definition is completely different. I'm investing into business. Until unless I don't see there has been change into the business, I don't intend to exit that business. It can go low for like 2-3 years, 4 years, but I don't intend to do this thing. And I'm not thinking that it should go like within a week or within a month. If it has not moved by 5%, it's a bad investment. No, not at all. What I'm trying to bet is that yes, in long duration, it is going to generate a decent compounding return, which is going to take care of my wealth. And now, why bearish trader? Because historically, it has been seen that most of the successful traders, it is statistically proven, have made their killing or the highest bets by shorting securities. Because as they commonly say that bulls take the ladder while the bears take the elevator. So this is exactly what happens in the real market also. You must have seen it takes 20-30 days for the markets to move up one single day, and that can wipe off the complete game. So as a trader, if you're able to strike that right opportunity and you're able to short at the right point of time, there can be enormous amount of wealth. So being a bearish trader doesn't mean I don't make long bets. I do make long bets, but my heavier bets in terms of trading remain short. So for example, my heavier bets somewhere around Feb end, when I also announced on Twitter, Insta, everywhere that you should, I think it was like 12,200, Feb something, 12,200 was the level. I clearly mentioned about shorting opportunities and I was heavily shorting. And yes, I could have covered around 7,500, but I had this ego thing. My trailing stop loss was around 9,200. But still, I managed 3,000 points on the index, which itself gives me a lot of pleasure to understand how much I could have made and that too in Nifty, not in Bank Nifty. Bearish trader, because in trading, when I'm just planning for 1 day to 30 days, I get good opportunities over there. I strike my chords and I make money. But as an investor, I really don't think I need to check my portfolio even every 3 months. I see maybe quarterly once, or mostly during filing, because the auditor asked me for the audit statements and all those things. So that's why I'm compelled to see what exactly happened and what were the holdings, because we have to mention that while filing the audit.
And in how many months do you do the fundamental research again?
Okay, so see, so if I have to exit my portfolio, there are certain levels. Those are for swing and short-term investments. So for example, see, you have to be like fluid into the market based on market scenarios. You have to change. So 2020 and 21 were interesting years, because suddenly such a big drop, like the biggest of the history, and suddenly the fastest recovery. So I had to be fluid. Whatever expectation I had kept in terms of returns for the next 5 years got achieved in 1 year, and that was the reason I thought, okay, instead of 10%, I'll pay 15%. 10% is LTCG tax and 15% is the short term. I said, okay, fine, I'll give 15%. But at this level, I don't want to risk holding on to so much. So what I do is the research keeps on going almost on a daily basis. Okay, you don't come across a stock just like that. Okay, this is a stock I want to invest. I still remember Ashok Leyland had invested in 2014 or something around 25 odd levels. I exited at 150. Okay, and like 3 or 4 years, three and a half years. Okay, now the thing is, at that point of time, every 6 months I was keeping a track of what exact progress is happening over there, because I was very positive. Why I exited at 150, it went up to 160, 170 after that. But the reason is because whatever things I was planning in terms of valuation, in terms of developments, everything had already factored in. I just took an exit from that level, and I'm happy, because after that it again drifted down to 90, 80, 60, whatever levels. Okay, but again, I have my fair share of mistakes. I was holding Suzlon at 12 rupees. After 2-3 years, I exited at 11.8, so 40 paisa loss. Although it's not big, but in terms of quantities it becomes, and moreover it's a time loss when you're waiting for 2.5 years, and then you. So we do learn from our mistakes. But yes, the interesting part is I do research every day, because it doesn't sound like a research. It's more like fun for me.
How and when did stock market come into your life?
So more than a decade now. Before, like, it was like first year of graduation, if I'm not wrong. A brief glimpse of this thing about stock market when one of our professors actually talked about Warren Buffett, and I was like, I did a bit of research. That time we didn't have so much of resources to research. Simple net. Even the internet consumption at that point of time was like in a daily basis, we used to consume for 15 minutes. That was the max. And today, just see, we cannot stay 15 minutes without the internet. So that time I found, oh my god, there's one person who's been respected across the globe and he has good stature and making good money out of something called stock markets on a consistent basis. That was my first introduction to the stock markets. Later on, so for graduation, I was enjoying more on the enjoying bit, not focused on this thing. Later on, I had this brief stint of working with someone with HSBC. He was a good manager over there, and he was having his own portfolio thing also. So I got to learn a few things from him, like very basic, what capital market and all those things. Got excited, opened up a demat, blew the account 2, 3, 4, 6 times maybe. Then for after 2 years of doing random things, I think 1.5 years of doing random things, I realized it's not meant for me. Then I thought, okay, let's give it time. For like 2 years, I started working on the skills, reading through Central Library and all the stuff. And that was eventually when I started getting taste of it. I had an option bet which had actually doubled that time. Then again, I made some good money. Again, I lost. So that was up and down, up and down. So the entire process of up, down, up, down, up, down costed me around 4 years. But after 4 years, it was like small profitable year on year and month on month, in fact, small profitable, then slightly big profitable, and finally a decent way to go where you can think, okay, now you can call yourself as a trader, that is, you're making money. So this entire thing, like 4 years eventually was. This is exactly what I tell the youth also. So don't get so amazed by the results which people are actually posting across the social media, and don't let it affect you that wow, these people are making crores and crores. You should look that it took 10, 11 years, 12 years to reach that place. And anyways, whatever profession you pick trading, you pick investing, you pick marketing, you pick digital marketing, finance, in whatever field, if you're ready to spend 10 years of dedication over there, you are bound to improve every year on year. And I always say, so a lot of people, when you ask this common question, why do you want to come on trading? So everyone has money. That's the only reason. That shouldn't be the only reason. The first reason should be passion for anything you want to do. If money is the only reason, why don't you become an investment banker? There are investment bankers who earn yearly 50 lakh rupees plus bonuses on high of 30, 40 lakh rupees. If money is the only thing, how many traders do that? Hardly 2 or 3% of the traders do that. You can do that. If money is the only thing, you can become a high-end corporate lawyer and make crores every year by taking high-end cases. If money is the only thing, you can run a startup or a business like Oyo's, Ritesh, or so many examples are there, and you can become a multi-billionaire. So first in place, you should have that passion element. Then you have to, money will finally come into your life. But if it's just the money, a lot of people in the lockdown entered into the stock market just for money. Now that's not the right approach. You cannot treat trading as a hobby. It has a serious profession. And a profession, a CA takes 8 years, an IITian to earn a decent package right from his schooling days takes 6 years, a doctor takes 9 years. Stock market is also a profession. It takes years. So you need to understand this thing.
Yes, and actually, it happened the same with me because when I was in college, during our fourth semester, I am an engineer basically. I am an IT engineer. So during our fourth semester, we had a subject in commerce, financial accounting and management, and the Professor Thakur was a very good teacher because while explaining the concepts about financial accounting and management and all the things related to our course, he used to tell us stories about stock market, the Vodafone retrospective act, tax wala act, and then all the things, how market function, how markets are healthy, what the recession cycle is, what the depression cycle is. He used to tell us each and everything, and that's what got me interested in stock market. But I didn't have money, or I actually ignored it. I didn't pay any attention to stock markets. But a couple of years back, in 2019, I was watching an interview of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, and he was talking about how the market is always a bull market, because whenever he talks, he never talks ill about market. He always says that we are in a bull market. So it got me interested, and it got me thinking that even I can invest a certain amount, be it anything. I can start investing, not trading. I can start investing in for long terms, doing my own piece of research, doing my own piece of fundamental research and all. So it went like that, and I entered in stock market. I started investing for a long term in I guess July of 2019, and from then my journey started.
That's the point. And moreover, this is a good thing which you did. The earlier you start investing into the market, the more compounding will start working into your favor. And that is how you're going to make good amount of money. So instead of that YOLO thinking you only live once or spend everything today, which the most of the young generation has, it should be more like, okay, enjoy, but have a balance. Have a balance in the sense you are investing also, you're enjoying. I'm not saying just save everything and don't enjoy today's time, because you're not going to get it back. Enjoy, go out for dates, go out with party, go out for night outs, do everything. Not in Corona, after Corona, but and after that, but make sure that at least 30% of your amount, whatever you're earning, goes into not just saving, but goes into investing.
Abhishek sir, when we talk about the recent market fall, which took place, and market hit their lowest point on 23rd of March 2020, and then it grew exponentially. The biggest recovery, the best recovery we have ever seen in our lifetimes, right? So why do you think, what were the factors which were involved in this market recovery? Because many of the investors, as you said, Warren Buffett sir and even Ramdev Agarwal sir, they were all saying that the recovery will take at least 2 to 3 months. It will not be a V-shaped recovery.
2 to 3 years.
Sorry, 2 to 3 years. It will not be a V-shaped recovery. It will be a gradual recovery.
Okay, so there are 2 3 reasons, plain and simple. One is on hindsight, when we realize, but statistics are saying, and this is astonishing number, 65% of the total turnover in the last year, financial year 2021, I read it in ET Prime, were bought by retail traders. It wasn't bought by institutions. Shocking. 63 or 65%, that is amounting to around 65,000 crore rupees. So can you just imagine suddenly so much of influx of money from retail? And there are multiple reasons. First, suddenly people started paying attention that yes, there's something called stock markets and why it is important to take care of our finances, because this COVID situation gave a reality check to a lot of people that we cannot depend on a single source of income. We need to have investments working for us when we are sleeping. So that was one reason. Second, some people started finding it very fascinating. A good share of it goes to social media influencers also, who started talking about investment. Today I realize that even those people, social media influencers who have no idea about what are stocks, what are investment, are still talking about investment, because they know that this topic is getting a lot of eyeballs from young people. They now want to take care of their expenses. So one reason is of course the 65,000 crore of turnover, 63 or 65% bought by retail. Second reason, the biggest reason across the globe, is the central bank. The central banks have been pouring in a lot of money, a lot of cash. The liquidity influx, and they played it smart. They wanted to make sure that you don't have to go into this interest raise mechanism. You don't have to go into anything which can completely shatter the hopes of banking system, and to make sure everything remains afloat. Everyone was printing machine, and US has this beautiful machine of printing all the money. So whenever they want, they can actually print a lot of money. So that actually ensured that there is enough liquidity, and that liquidity, that money flow, was transferred or passed to the retailers. Retail in the sense the normal people, with the help of, let's say, there were government organizations which were passed on this money for various facilities. There were government banks, there were infrastructure companies. The companies were said, you don't have to stop your recruitment. So somehow they played this smartly. In 1928, 1930, when this thing happened, the central bank didn't take any charge. And that is why the complete economy collapsed for almost 20-25 years. Okay, and that's in the late 1930s. This time, they didn't let this thing happen. So the biggest reason is the central bank pumping money. It's just like usually what happens in recession or this thing, you run out of money. But here there is so much of money printing that if you know how to earn money, you can earn the money. That's the second reason. So central bank pumping up this thing. And the third thing is there were a lot of hedge funds who were sitting on the backbench even in the month of January and February. They had not invested the money, and they were probably looking to invest after 2-3 years. But now at those levels, when market went up to 7,500 and all those levels, they realized this is such a lucrative opportunity. If we don't invest right now, when will we invest? And suddenly, back to back, there was a ripple effect when they started investing. So mutual funds, Indian mutual funds, they started investing, because LIC personally couldn't invest because they were already sitting on a loss of 1.5 lakh crore. So now it had to be other organizations like ICICI AMC, SDFC AMC, and every day you could see the report that mutual funds are buying this much, this much, this much. So they bought this afloat, and then there was a cycle where the retail traders. And another interesting thing is, since physically a lot of people were not able to work, there were so many in my circle also, they withdrew a lot of money from their existing business, and that money also got diverted into this thing. See, What Narendra Modi ji has done is demonetization, so you cannot play around with black money, cash. Gold also, there are certain imposition. Real estate and Corona, you cannot build up the money. So if someone has to make money, where will that money flow in? The obvious choice was stock markets. And data always supports. Zerodha says in the last 8 years, they didn't have so many demat accounts as much as they had in the last 3 months during the Corona time. Right? 8 years and 3 months.
Yeah,
All the
correct.
brokers. Suddenly the brokers actually launched their IPOs. For example, Angel had been waiting for a golden opportunity. Angel got this thing and they launched this thing. So this clearly gives the significance that yes, the awareness has gone up. There is still a space. I would say maybe from 2% now 5 or 6% are interested into investing. But again, some more falls like the recent time happened and a lot of newcomers will go out. But then those who are going to stay over here will still count to around 5 or 6%. So we still have a lot of space for investors and traders to come into picture. So India still is like, despite all those things, is like 5 or 6% invested only. Okay. So we have good space over here.